What if the funniest show in TV history was secretly one of the most dangerous experiments Hollywood ever attempted? Behind every laugh were real clashes, wild improvisations, and risks that could have ended careers. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal 15 hidden battles and bizarre truths you've never heard about this groundbreaking series. From contracts designed as pranks to moments that nearly turned violent, you'll see how comedy history was built out of chaos and strategy. You thought you knew this show, but the reality is far stranger than fiction. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 1, Lucy becomes Hollywood's first female studio boss. Most people remember Lucille Ball cracking us up with her wild facial expressions and perfect timing, but what many forget is that she also sat at the head of a studio lot. After her split with Desi Arnaz, she signed the papers that made her the sole owner of Desilu Productions. That move instantly put her in the history books as the very first woman to ever run a major Hollywood studio. Think about how huge that was in the 1960s, when female stars still fought just to be taken seriously. Her green light shaped television itself. Without her, shows like Star Trek and Mission Impossible never would have made it past the pitch. Lucy wasn't just entertaining millions, she was changing the rules. Number 2, CBS tried to keep her real husband off the show. Imagine one of TV's most famous couples, and then picture the network trying to keep half of them off the screen. That's what happened when CBS insisted Desi Arnaz wasn't right for the show. Executives believed his Cuban accent made him too foreign for American audiences, and they worried viewers wouldn't connect with the character. Lucille Ball refused to accept that. To prove their natural chemistry worked, she and Desi created a live vaudeville act. They toured with it, playing theaters filled with regular audiences, and the response was overwhelming. People loved them together. Faced with undeniable applause, CBS finally agreed. That victory wasn't just about casting a husband. It marked a breakthrough in representation on primetime television. Number 3, the grape-stomping scene turned into a real fight. That grape-stomping scene might look like lighthearted fun, but behind the laughter, things turned unexpectedly tense. Lucille Ball was supposed to play it clumsy for laughs, tumbling into the vat while stomping grapes with a local actress. But the performance didn't stick to the script. At one point, Lucy slipped, lost her balance, and got tangled up with her co-star. What was meant to be comic flailing quickly turned into an actual struggle, with both of them wrestling in the grapes. It wasn't just messy, it was risky. Grapes ended up jammed in Lucy's nose, and the heavy costumes were completely soaked, making it harder to move. The moment that had audiences laughing hysterically was far more dangerous while filming. Number 4, Lucy was actually a brunette. Everyone pictures Lucille Ball with that bright red hair, but in reality, she was a natural brunette. In her early career, Hollywood casting agents didn't think her dark look stood out enough on screen. Like many young actresses, she was encouraged to change her appearance to be more marketable. And that push led to a drastic choice. Her hair was dyed red, and once the cameras picked it up under the studio lights, it became unforgettable. By then, she had already tried her hand at modeling under the name Diane Belmont, with long brunette locks that gave her a more traditional style. Number 5, even the word pregnant was taboo. Hard to believe now, but back in the 1950s, you couldn't even say the word pregnant on television. The censors ruled it inappropriate, even when the storyline revolved around Lucy and Ricky expecting a baby. Writers had to stick to the gentler word expecting, which feels oddly stiff compared to the real situation. Television back then operated under strict moral codes, where even the suggestion of family life had to be softened. But here's what's interesting. The restriction actually made the show funnier. Number 6, Lucy's real baby was born the same day as little Ricky. Talk about perfect timing. Lucy and Ricky welcomed their TV baby on the very same day Lucille Ball gave birth to her real son, Desi Jr. This wasn't a coincidence. The studio carefully planned it as one of the biggest publicity stunts television had ever seen. The pregnancy storyline had viewers captivated already, but syncing it with Lucy's actual delivery turned it into a genuine national event. When the episode aired, over 44 million people tuned in. A personal milestone transformed into America's favorite primetime spectacle. Number 7, sitcom filming changed forever with 3 cameras. Almost every sitcom you watch today owes its style to a decision made on I Love Lucy. Back in the early 1950s, comedies were usually filmed with a single camera, which meant lots of stops, retakes, and awkward staging. Desi and Lucy weren't happy with that. They wanted the freedom of live theater, but the polish of film. Their solution: 3 cameras running at the same time. One caught the wide shot, while the others covered close-ups, so nothing got missed. Number 8, Desi invented the rerun. We're so used to flipping on the TV and catching reruns that it's hard to imagine a time when they didn't exist. But in the early 1950s, that idea hadn't even been tried yet. The problem came when Lucille Ball took time off to have her baby. Without new episodes, the network feared the audience might drift away. Desi Arnaz came up with a simple but clever solution: show the old episodes again. Nobody knew if viewers would bother watching repeats, but the response was astonishing. That one decision launched reruns as both a dependable rating strategy and a long-term moneymaker. Number 9, Fred and Ethel were enemies behind the scenes. On screen, Fred and Ethel felt like the perfectly mismatched couple, always sniping at each other but never breaking apart. Off-screen, though, William Frawley and Vivian Vance could hardly stand being in the same room. Their working relationship was a constant battle that producers quietly tried to keep from spilling onto the set. Part of the friction came from their differences. Frawley was older, old-fashioned, and often impatient, while Vance was younger, outspoken, and wanted fresher material. The clashes escalated so much that the production team sometimes had to step in to calm them. Number 10. The living room was painted in strange colors. We all picture Lucy's living room as warm and homey, but the truth is none of us have ever really seen it. On black and white television, it looked charming, but that set was never designed with beauty in mind. It was designed to trick the early cameras. Back in the 1950s, ordinary colors appeared flat and blended together on screen, so the crew painted furniture in bizarre shades to make them pop. The living room walls, chairs, and even lamps carried odd colors: bright greens, pinks, and strange contrasts that had no chance of matching in real life. Number 11, the audience laughed too long. I Love Lucy was so funny that the studio often had a surprising problem. The audience laughed way too long. If the laughter ran over Lucy's dialogue, directors trimmed it down in the final cut to keep the timing sharp. In some episodes, the laughs stretched so much, the actors had to pause and wait before continuing. To make the show flow, the team cut the laughs shorter, keeping the comedy crisp without losing its punch. Number 12. Vitameatavegamin was done in one take. The Vitameatavegamin scene is easily one of Lucy's most unforgettable routines. The addled sales pitch where she tries to plug a vitamin and tonic mix while slowly losing her grip. Watching it, you'd imagine it took hours of retakes to master the rhythm, the slurred words, and the exact comedic beats. Here's the twist. She filmed it in just one take. That single performance cemented the scene as one of sitcom history's most iconic moments. Lucy didn't just practice until it was perfect. She was perfect on the first try. Number 13. Lucy beat the president in TV ratings. Back in 1953, Dwight Eisenhower's inauguration was expected to pull in the country's attention. Yet on the very same week, America had its eyes glued to Lucy. When the episode featuring the arrival of Little Ricky aired, more than 44 million people tuned in, outdrawing the audience for Eisenhower's historic ceremony. It wasn't just families at home. Viewers spanned every community and age group. The event crossed demographics in a way politics couldn't. Number 14, Desilu Studios launched a Star Trek and Mission Impossible. I Love Lucy didn't just end with Lucy on screen. After the show's huge success, Desilu Studios grew into a force in television. What makes this part of the story so surprising is the kind of shows it chose to support. Instead of safe comedies, Desilu took a chance on new ideas that other studios didn't believe in. Two of those risks were Star Trek and Mission. Impossible. Both pilots were questioned by networks, but Lucille Ball personally approved them despite the doubts. Over time, those shows became cultural landmarks, one redefining science fiction and the other creating a new standard for spy adventures. Number 15, even America's phone lines went silent. During I Love Lucy's time slot, even the nation's phone system noticed something unusual. Long-distance call volume dipped each week as households chose laughter over conversation. Families gathered around the screen, neighbors delayed catching up, and even businesses seemed to pause until the credits rolled. The pattern was so consistent that phone companies could tell when Lucy was on. That's what makes the show so remarkable. It didn't simply entertain millions, it reshaped the medium itself. Next time you revisit an old sitcom or binge a modern one, keep in mind how much of what you see links back to Lucy. She proved television could be limitless.